For today's assignment, we just got done watching a Khan Academy video telling us how to convert decimals between standard and expanded form using fractions. Today our assignment is T.12, and here's one of the examples of what you're going to be working through today. We're going to want to think of PEMDAS when we look at this equation because I have 7 times 1 plus 9 times 1/10. I don't see any parentheses or exponents, so now I see some multiplication, and we have to multiply before we add. So what I'm going to do to help me organize myself a little bit more is I'm going to put some parentheses in here. 7 times 1, and then I have my addition sign, and then I have 9 times 1/10. So I'm going to first multiply 7 times 1. 7 times 1 equals 7. And then I have 9 times 1/10. That means, like we learned before, that we need to take 1/10 and we have to add that 9 times. And so that is going to be 9/10, or 9 times 1/10 is 9/10. Now that we've solved the parentheses, we're ready to add these two together. And so I have a whole number of 7. And then 9/10 is less than 1, so I'm going to put my decimal point in here. And it says that I need to put a 9 in the 10th spot. So I look at my choices here. I have 79 hundredths, the number 79, 7 4/10, or 7 9/10. That is my answer right there. So let's look at another example, and for this one, looks real similar to what we just did. We're going to do the same thing. We see that there's multiplication and addition. We have to multiply first, so I'm going to go through and put my parentheses in here. 5 times 1, 8 times 1/10, 4 times 1/100. All right, so I'm ready to look. 5 times 1 is 5. 3 times 1/10 is 3/10. And 4 times 100 is 4/100. Now I finished my multiplication. Now I have to do my addition. So I will add my addition signs in here. I have 5 ones. Now I have 3/10 and 4/100, so I'm going to put a decimal point in because those numbers are less than 1. It says that I have the number 3 in the 10th spot, and I have the number 4 in the 100th spot. So I'm going to look at my choices here. Oops, that wasn't 3, that was 8 here. And this is 8 here. Sorry about that. So I look at my choices. I have the answer 5 and 84 hundredths. Here is 5 and 84 hundredths. I think that looks like the answer, but I always double check all the problems to make sure it looks right. 485 is too much. 58 and 4/10 is too much, and 5 and 804 thousandths is too much. So that is the correct answer. Now I'm going to go, and there's going to be some that you're going to be having to solve the opposite direction. And to do that, just a second, let me switch over. All right, now for this, we are given the number, and they want us to write it in expanded form. So I have the number 9 and 93 hundredths. I take the number 9, and it's in the 1 spot, so I'm going to multiply that by 1. Then I'm going to add the next number, and I have the 9, and that's in the 10th spot. So I'm going to take the number 9, and I'm going to multiply that by 1/10. The next number I'm going to add is the 3 in the 100th spot. So I take the number 3 and I multiply that by 1/100 because that is in the 100th spot. Now I'm ready to add them to, I'm going to look at them. I have 9 times 1 plus 9 times 1/10 plus 3 times 1/100. This one doesn't look right because it starts with a 5. This one starts out with a 9 times 1/10. So now I'm left with these two here. 9 times 1 times 9 times 1/10 plus 3 times 1/100 looks right, but I'm just going to double check down here, and there they have this in the 1,000 spot. So I'm going to cross that off, and here's my answer, and I'm going to submit. And we're going to try one more of those just so we can get those down. Same thing. This one is 9 and 11/100. So I'm going to first start out with, I have a 9 in the 1 spot. Then I'm going to add a 1 in the 10th spot, so 1 times 1/10. And then I'm going to add another 1, and this one I'm going to multiply by 1/100. I look down here below and I see first this one down here says 1 times 1. That's not going to work. 1 times 100. That's not going to work. So I'm down to 2 here. 9 times 1 plus 1 times 1/10 plus 1 times 1/100 looks just like my answer. That's where I feel like I'm going to go. But then we look here, and this is 9 times 1 plus 1 times 100, but it's multiplying 1 times 1,000. So I was correct. That was my answer. All right, this is pretty tricky. It's a new concept for us. You've been working really hard to get to this point. Please don't hesitate to call if you have any questions. All right, take care.